Hey, welcome to Dogman Teepee hunting. And if you're listening to this, watching it, it'll be on YouTube. If you're listening to it, it'll be on the Interdimensional Voyages podcast. All right, let's begin. Hope you had a good week. I had a shock to my system this week. I went back to work. Yeah, first time since the 24th of January. But I'm over the pity party now about my leg. It's getting better. Um, but you know, it's still work in progress. Let's put it that way, work in progress. But I put my big boy pants on and got back to work and yeah, it's good. Mm, being back to work, is good. It's a routine, isn't it? That's kind of like one thing that strikes me is when you kind of like have long term kind of time off work and you're at home, it kind of you fall into a different routine. And being on social media and doing what kind of we do, we look at the more arcane side of life and the more ghosts and cryptids and uh, things like ley lines like we're going to talk about tonight, stuff like that. When we're looking into it, it's surprising how many people don't really sleep during the night, and kind of like sleep in. You start sleeping in the morning, and then everything comes alive. And then at night time, everything it's like ping, 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 ping. Come about 7 o'clock at night, then you start getting everyone pinging messages. This going on, that going on. But during the day, it's almost like 1970s daytime TV, social media. Nothing really happens during the day. It's dead boring. And then at nighttime, it kind of like all comes together. And the longer you go on, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, boom, it just evolves. And I suppose a lot of that's got to do with I'm on there a lot of the American sites as well. A lot of pages on American stuff. So you kind of that kicks in, and you start getting loads of stuff from there as well, which is good. I'm not grumbling. It's just a different routine. And it was a kind of a shock to my system to sort of get up at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock. Well, to be honest with you, I set the alarm for 6 and 6:15. It's usually the 6:15 one and a swift elbow from Roxy B that gets me up. Your alarm's going, Phil. Phil, your alarm's going. Because my mind gets used to that alarm. It gets used to it. So, I keep having to alternate it between cuckoo clock, and kind of like a one-man band type playing. But yeah, even that I have trouble with. Anyway, hope you're all well. And thank you for joining. Do appreciate it. Listening to me dribble on. It's not going to be an epic one, this one. Okay, it's not going to be an epic. It's just basically what I want to do is an hour and a half till 8:30. I just want to talk ley lines and ask you. All right, I'm going to put out some facts, and then I'm going to ask you what you think. What is your? I've had a lot of messages um, at the moment about ley lines, and surprisingly, some which I didn't really expect. So I just want to share those. I did let the God people know that I'm going to share them. But to be honest with you, they're on social media anyway. They put up for everyone to see, anyone to see. So they're not personal messages to me. They were put up as on the post. So but I've withheld their identity anyway because that's only fair. So all right, get to it. I'll get the comments up as well. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Also want to say thank you once again to Dornio 70 moderating, Kate, moderating, and also to Roxy B as well, doing a lot of the background stuff, um, uh, as well. So she's helping a lot. It's kind of like frees me up a little bit so I can waffle a bit more, which is great. And let's see who we've got in the chat. Um, ah, Drew Hollings, hello. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Fozo Fox. How you doing, mate? I hope the weather's all right over there. I bet it's heating up. I bet it is heating up in Croatia. Um, let's have a look. Yeah, everyone's okay. You're obviously B. Oh, we have Colin Kilty. Hello, how you doing? Let's have a look. Yes, right. And uh, yeah, so that's lovely. Thank you for joining us, Carl. Appreciate that. Do you know, I'm gonna ask you guys something as well. Ah, scared silly. Hi, yeah. How you doing? You're right. Nice you could make it. Nice you could make it. Thanks, scared silly. Right. Yeah, one thing I was gonna ask you was now I've spoken to Colin Kilty this week. Um, and because he was on last weekend, wasn't he? With Ian Wood. Now, um, I was thinking, because I do these sort of more deeper dives, don't I? You know, sort of like where I go into things and but I'd like to sort of cover stuff in a bit more of a kind of uh light-hearted manner. I know some of the stuff is kind of like quite deep and profound. You know, it challenges consciousness as we know it. I get that, but it's also nice, and I think it's good to banter some of it. You know, so I've been doing like monologues, giving out information, and blah, blah. But let me know if you would like maybe a couple of times a month. Colin coming on as a co-host. I've invited him if he'd like to come on as co-host, and if you think it's a good idea. I think it is because we do kind of get on in a kind of through gritted teeth way. Really, he is annoying. Um, but it's sort of swings his weight around all over the place, and he's sort of like sort of moaning about his leg and back, and now I'm 100% and like a spring chicken again, but I held myself back so that he could keep up, which is good. But he's a nice guy. Um, and like he said, it kind of I should shine, by having him on the show as a co-host. It will just make me shine out a bit more, I think. Um, but yeah, so that's good. But let me know in the comments if you think it's a good idea. I think it is a good idea because he's when it comes to cryptid zoology, he's second to none. He knows an awful lot of stuff. Um, and I think he would. I honestly do believe that Colin. I think he'll be an asset. Just coming on and going over some of the stuff that's happened. If some stuff's happened during the week, um, and some of the stuff which you know, kind of we can go over together and kind of just like a boxing match, sort of punch it through and see what comes up. I think that'd be quite a good idea. But let us know in the comments what you think. Scared silly, absolutely. The Dark 66, really? Colin went, really? Question mark, laugh out loud. Yeah, yeah, really, I know. Oh, yeah, we've got Stuart as well. Oh, Andy, how you doing, Andy? Very nice you could join us. I appreciate that. Let's take that one off for a start and put this one back on and put the comments on again. Yep, Andy Penn, nice for you to join us. Thank you. Let's have a look. What's Andy said? Phil, do you know Terry, he has spent years generating a UK ley line map. No, no, no. What it is, I kind of had an idea about ley lines, simply because I went right. It's a bit of a long, but I went to Clapham Woods on an investigation. The videos in my library, okay, to see the what was it? It was the sacrificial beech tree. There's a beech tree in the woods with loads of like kind of uh, almost sigils carved into this old tree. It's still living. It's a living beech tree. And it's in the middle of the woods, and it's like got a huge, great trunk. You know, it's a massive tree. Um, and Clapham Woods is quite famous because there's been an awful lot of lost dogs there. People have let their dogs off. Regrettably, dogs have not come back. And if you Google it as well, Clapham Woods, there's a case where the priest that was in the church, because by Clapham Woods, to get to Clapham Woods, you've got to walk through the cemetery and then out through a gate, and that takes you across a field, and then through another gate, and then through another field, and then you get to the main wood where there's sacrificial beaches. Anyway, I went there, had a little look, done a video, everything great, cracking, brilliant. And then me being me, I was on my own. I thought, oh, I know, I'm not going to take the path back because that's quite boring. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go, through the brush, which I did. Well, blow me down sideways. There was stick, like Blair Witch. It was a bit like that. I mean, these there were star patterns like made out of branches and twigs. Star propped up at 40 degrees. Kind of like looking at you. And there was also like kind of these shapes like figures, like Blair Witch. It was really odd. It was just sort of very odd. Anyway, ley lines, right? What it is, okay. So, at one part of this forest, I've never really had it before. I felt sick, physically sick. I felt physically ill, and I had to go from that area, specific area, quite quickly. Anyway, as I was leaving the area, quite quickly, I could see that on my map, the line, if I was to point a line at the church and then at this beech tree, which there was supposedly sacrifices done on this beech tree. If I was to draw a line, I looked at the map because I thought, oh, how do I get back? And it lined up absolutely perfect, like a straight line. If I was to fly as the crow flies. So I was like, that's a bit strange. And then I kind of looked, and there was a ley line there, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking. I wonder if the ley lines do have. They're meant to be magnetic lines. Yeah, very strong magnetic lines. Now, I'll tell you a little funny thing. Now, I felt ill, didn't I? I just said I felt ill. So, okay. When I was having all this treatment done on my leg, they take you in for X-rays, they take you in for blood tests, they take you in for colonoscopies, which is not pleasant. All these sort of tests because they were trying to find out kind of what was causing the pain that I had. You're going to think, why are they messing around with colonoscopy when it's your leg? But at the time, I was having trouble with like Crohn's disease and everything else, and it was all kicking off. And I went into a MRI. They sent me for an MRI. So in a tunnel I went. And the first time round, it was claustrophobic, but you deal with it. You got earphones on because it's like fud, 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 but you deal with it. That's fine. The second time around, they put a cannula in me. And I thought, that's a bit odd. I'm having an MRI. Why am I having a cannula? But that was because they put a, and I'll talk about this in detail in a little while, but they put a cannula in me so they could put this compound in so that it showed up my veins and arteries better, if you like, my tissue. If it would show up in the magnetic resonance tube. And it was that time when I was kind of like in had the cannula and that compound put in, that I had the same feeling I did when I was in Clapham Woods. A sort of a light, felt as if I was like kind of floating. It felt like you like, kind of like lost 10 pounds. You've just felt really a lot lighter. And and then a sick feeling. And I thought, when I was in having the MRI, I thought, oh, I felt this before, sort of thing. And that was in Clapham Woods, where I suspect I was on the ley line. And that's what I was feeling. So yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I'll go into detail about the compound that they put in. It's a very rare mineral, um, but I'm going to get it up now, and I'm going to tell you. There is, like Andy said, there's a lot of ley lines. All right, there's an awful lot um, throughout UK, the world, an awful lot. But it would be foolish of me to try and cover them too broadly. Do you see what I mean? I'm not going to just encompass the whole lot of ley lines. I'm just going to concentrate on one. And the one I want to concentrate on runs from Cornwall all the way up to North Suffolk. And that's the Michael line. There's two, the Michael and Mary line, but the Mary line squiggles around a lot more and intersects with the Michael line quite a lot. But I was going to just talk about the Michael line, really, because I think it's going to be, if anything, easier for my brain to sort of get around, because there's a lot to it. Anyway, I just want to show you. I put up a poll, okay, on Facebook. I'm just going to put that poll up now, just to see what people have been saying. Right. Okay. Right. I asked. Do you believe ley lines are used by one of the options? Choose below: Dogman, aliens, Bigfoot. Not at all. None of these options. Spirit entities, e.g., ghosts, or yes to all. So, what shone out here for me was aliens. Absolutely shone out. I was like, wow, okay. I can see it though. I can see why. Uh, and that was 42%. Bigfoot 1%. Um, not at all 1%. Spirit entities, surprisingly, 14%. Yes to all, on that, all of them being along ley lines, 28% overall. Dogman 14%. So aliens shone out. It really did. It kind of like they just shone out. They did. So yeah, there we go. I'm back. So what it is, I had some messages of people who've had experiences and views on ley lines. I'm going to just cover those first. All right. So um first one, I fully agree that they use ley lines as would other cryptids. In our Yowie and uh, Junjiji research, we have found a firm connection between the two. The fact that we have two distinct Bigfoot-like creatures also speaks to the diversity that can occur. Also, both these creatures have a deep connection with our people and Aboriginal people, but also to this land. We live in a highly active area that is energized by water, aquifer, and river. A massive quartz reef laden with gold. Um, so yeah, I mean, you've got one person there that's resolutely saying yes, Bigfoot, Yowie. Um, there's a correlation. They found a correlation with ley lines and their travels, how they use them. Got another one which was sent to me. Leys are all tied to subterranean streams. The lines tend to follow the same general direction as the way the water flows. All ley lines begin and converge at Glastonbury. Okay. Um, right. I'll have to have a look at that. But right. Let me just turn this off. Okay. Right then. You could hear my phone, my watch going ping ping. Annoying. Right. Another one. This is another that was on Facebook. Okay, sent to us. Being pedantic, the term ley was created by Alfred Watkins in the old straight track. He theorized they were straight lines used since ancient times, aligned on tumuli, notches in hills, and other features. Modern New Age people dowse lines that flow, not straight lines like the St. Michael line through Glastonbury, and appropriated his name for something else. The book Safe as Houses discusses the damage caused to them and how these can make people ill by picking up bad energy as well as other odd happenings. I've heard that. I've heard that, people like sometimes say, "Oh, my house was residing over a ley line." This is going back to ghost hunting, and people have said just got bad vibes from it, and then you find that you get apparitions and uh, entities going through like on another time, as if they're on this ley line, just sort of drifting past through the house. That's happened. I don't know. What do you think of it? What do you think of it? What do you think? Do you think they're like these super highways? Could they be? It's something we've forgotten about if they are. Animals. I think 2021 there was a study done on sharks, great white sharks, and they tagged this great white shark. Anyway, it was able. Oh, it went thousands of miles, and basically in a accurate line in the ocean, accurate line, and they put it down to picking up on the Earth's magnetic field. I mean, they can't prove that because the lobsters use the same, um, and octopi use the same, um, but they can't put the great white because it's actually catch them when they're quite sort of dangerous, aren't they? Yeah, but it's food for thought, isn't it? Food for thought. I wonder. Um, okay, right. I had another message. Right, I had a lot of activity along the Albion line where I live over in Sutton Coldfield. The line cut through, then it dissects Sutton Park, running past the end of Powell's. pull up through the Jamboree Stone, and it goes on then through the lower end of Castle Ring and Cannock Chase. Interesting. Now, Stuart will tell you about the Castle Ring Cannock Chase because he's had an awful lot of activity from paranormal walks. He's had an awful lot of activity uh, at Castle Ring. Um, so once again, it goes back to, are they using it like a superhighway? That ghost entities, these things which are just sort of like out of time. Are they traveling? Is it could be. Right, where are we? Oh, Cannock Chase. So where I actually lived, the the next road down, a friend of mine lived, and he was forever telling me about a house that had one owner after another. And basically, one night, an Indian family all ran out into the front garden, apparently freaked out by something happening inside. This house was directly on the ley line. We had a friend who claimed to have seen a creature at the bottom of his garden in a fenced off wooded area, again on a ley line. At the top of his road, myself, at the top of his road, myself and a boy that I used to walk to school with, we saw a cigar shaped craft in the sky in late May or maybe June of 1978, which was also spoken about by a young teacher at school when I arrived. She goes on. Both my brothers have seen UFO type craft over Sutton Park. Again, along the ley line as the one sighting was up in the sky above the Jamboree Stone. I had an experience in 1980 at home whereby I encountered something at the bottom of my garden. Although at the time, unbeknown to us, my brother was intent on opening up portholes with a Ouija board. I think she meant portals, by the way, not portholes. Interesting. Um, she goes on. She's had lots and lots and lots by ley lines, lots of experiences. On a 2021 July trip to Cannock Chase with an urban explorer to find the Beau Desert Hall, we were growled at by something on the edge of the woodland, which stunk and was definitely not a deer. And minutes later, found large footprints spread ridiculously far apart, but in a sequence across a path. And also in the same area, I had what I believe to this day to be an encounter with something that was cloaked. My my tri-field meter going crazy as it happened. Yep, definitely something to ley lines. There is. There is. Um, I honestly do believe there is. I think there's energies around the earth, in the earth, which we know very little about. Probably governments know more than we do. Um, but that I think propagate it kind of I think it propagates and helps to bring on this experience of what people are experiencing, from cryptids right through to ghosts, to UFOs. I am sure they are linked. All of them. They're linked, linked. They are linked. The exact same way in which they appear to the witness, and the same absurdity. The same absurdity of the appearance, which makes recounting it seem like, well, personally, like a complete nut job. All got in common. All of that got in common. All of the experiences, from ghost through to UFOs to Bigfoot through to Dogman, all of the experiences have that one thing in common. Could it be? Yeah, don't know. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Really would. Um, right. Okay. I was going to have a look at the comments. Okay, just while I've got the oh, we've got MT Paranormal Life. Hi, Mike. Let's have a look. Yeah, it has been a while, Mike. Has been a while. Hope you're getting on okay. Now, this guy, I went on his show. He came on mine. Uh, American guy. Him and his cameraman, his friend, that go out. And they go out in the woods at night and with walkie-talkies, and they're just like, they're in the crap. Let's face it, they're in the crap doing it. And he had the most amazing footage. His buddy, the cameraman, had a thermal imager, and bing, just like caught this mass. I told Colin Kilty about this, just this mass in the trees, which was just swirling around. It looked like a portal, as you would envisage a portal. It looked like that. So well done to you, Mike, getting that. I don't know how busy you've been lately. Been okay? Let's have a look. Da, 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 da. Hi, the dark. Let's get silly. Yep. True says that. Right. Okay. That's good. Yeah. Wonder if Stu's still here. Excellent. Right. Okay. I'm going to dive into a little bit of research. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out there so it gives everyone a bit of a background, and you can use it as a sounding board so that you can give your opinion. Okay. Right. So this is research I've come up with. And it's to do with UFOs primarily. Okay, so it's right up the pole street, if you know what I mean. In the 1950s and 60s, many accounts were recorded about strange visitations which tapped into different line theories. A French ufologist, Jaime Michel, claimed that UFO sightings, when plotted on a map, fell into straight lines called orthotenes. Orthotenes. And Buck Nelson, an early alien abductee, believed that UFO pilots tapped into lines of magnetic force in the Earth to power and navigate their ships. In the late 1960s, ex-RAF pilot Tony Wedd put these two ideas together in conjunction with Watkins' theory. Most commonly associated with Alfred Watkins, which was mentioned, yeah, before Andy Penn and his concept of ley lines, a network of straight lines of sight connecting ancient and spiritual sites in the British landscape, and stated that ley lines were established by prehistoric communities to guide alien spacecraft. Wow. I'll continue, but just let that sink in for a minute. What do you think? Do you think they do? I think I would like to sort of have a kind of a map of UFO sightings in the UK. So I've got red a red flag for every sighting and every landing, you know, um, that you possibly can. And then overlay that with a ley line map and see. Possible, but that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of these energies, if they're earth energies, magnetic earth energies, they don't affect, as we know, our day to day. We may be crossing one as we're driving to work. We may be in our place of work, which is partly on a ley line. And you would imagine if it's got some kind of power, would it affect that around us? Well, yes, it does very often. And I think it does affect people. It's just whether or not we are aware of that effect, or do we just poo-poo it and put it down to a draft? Do we poo-poo it and put it down to, oh, um, it's just a sun reflection in the sky. I didn't see anything. I think that may go on. So yeah, right. So right, I might butcher his name, but it's AIME with a apostrophe over the E. Amy Michel, who died in 1992, was certainly the most memorable French UFO researcher and a pioneer in this field. In the early 1950s, he wrote the second French book on the subject, The Truth About Flying Saucers by Criterion Books. The only one who was successful in putting some rationality into the irrational that is the UFO phenomenon. In 1954, he was 35 years old and worked at the French radio and television broadcasting station. Since the end of August, France had been literally invaded by flying saucers. That's another thing that's odd, isn't it? It goes in waves. In a certain place, which makes you wonder about, uh, Earth energies, is it? Because it this happened 1954, and there was a wave of sightings and UFOs. We had that wave of sightings and UFOs in Brazil not that long ago. We had that wave and sighting of drones. Drones. First in Lakenheath, Mildenhall, first, before in the States, and then in the States. Right. So it kind of like they go in swarms, don't they? Like locusts, they kind of like swarm. So is it a case that they're utilizing energy? Maybe they're following that path that was spoken about Bigfoot, Yowie, following a path of a ley line. Um, yeah, it's odd. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, see what we've got Cass. Hello, Cass. Glad you could join us. Yes, yeah, yeah. No, you're quite right. Hang on. We've got hello, Richard. Thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, lovely seeing you again. Well, it's not actually. I can think of better things to look at, but anyway. But yeah, nice having you. Nice having you. Um, thank you for joining. Um, oh, MT Paranormal. Yep, take care, mate. Thanks for dropping in. And I've got to catch up on what you're doing at the moment. So people, if you want to see a really good American researcher, and this guy isn't just Bigfoot encrypted. He goes out a bit like he goes out and he kind of he's looking also for um ghosts, paranormal, general paranormal, which is really interesting because if they are all linked, it's a good thing to do. It's not, I think, in nowadays, especially with the Facebook groups and everything else, that are a bit blinkered. Stick to one topic subject, but what if all of the subjects are linked? What if they are? And it's better really to share information, share it all so that you kind of have a mix match, cross match, share UFO information with the latest sighting of a Bigfoot. Maybe the locations tally up, maybe there's a connection there. Maybe. It's just a thought. Okay. Um Right, in 1954, yeah, it was in television. It was in television, radio. Every day, they were making headlines in the daily press because France was inundated with UFO sightings at the time. Um, for instance, the classic case of Vernon near Paris on the 23rd of August, where one of the witnesses, Bernard Misery, it's lucky I was going to say misery, but yeah, misery. Uh, obs- uh, Observed a huge red-orange cigar-shaped object releasing several smaller luminous craft above the Seine River. We've seen that before, haven't we? And that is 1954. And sometimes, with imagination, it's kind of hard to envisage something. Uh, It makes it more real when you say, well, you see an object, then loads of objects come down from it. It's like a little object. And it's the exact same type of thing that people very often witness now. Or the well-known case of the landing of a bell-shaped UFO with two little cosmonaut-looking entities experienced by Maurice de Wilde on the 10th of September 1954 at Quarable in North Quarouble. I said Quarouble in the north of France, to mention only two. One day in the fall of 1954, during a dinner, his friend Jean Cocteau, who had read his first book, The Truth About Flying Saucers, gave him the following advice. I quote, "You should search if all those flying saucers did not obey some order, which our eyes at first glance could not suspect. It would be necessary to see if these objects move along certain lines, if they describe some drawings or anything. You could see, for example, if there are coincidences between their routes and the Earth magnetic lines or other lines with any meaning possible." So his friend Jean Cocteau was telling Amy, to find sequences, to find coincidences, which is what AI does now. It's fabulous at finding sequences. It just needs the information. The information is there, and I think the information probably this has been done. They know more than what they're telling us. We know that, don't we? They know more when it comes to aliens than what they're telling us. Um, right. The word was out, lines, and it was to lead Amy Michel towards his main contribution to ufology, the Orphatenny. Michel began plotting on large Michelin maps of France all the sightings of the wave of 1954, wholly unexpected spider web like figures appeared. In a program on UFOs broadcast on French TV in 1965, he alluded to one of the most puzzling alignments he discovered. Yeah, I'm going to put that up. He's done a map. Andy Penn says, Phil, via Essex, UFO and paranormal contact Terry Johnson. He gives talks on ley lines. You could ask him on. I will do that. Thank you. I appreciate that, Andy. I'll have a look at that. I'll see if I can't hit him up, and bun head and see if we have the same set of ideas. Let's try and get this a bit bigger if I can. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's the map. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn that banner off, okay? Because it's a bit off-putting. Right. Okay. So yeah. Right. Okay. You can hear me still, I guess. That's good. Right. So that's the map that he did. So basically, he drew. He plotted all of the sightings, 1954 sightings, on a map, and lo and behold, they became a line. So that was yeah, very, very, very odd. Very odd. As if I can't put that on there like that. Yeah, right. Okay, so um and doing so, I found rather surprising things. For example, on September 24th, 1954, there were 9 observations which had been reported to me, which I had found in the press or which had been sent to me by correspondence. These 9 observations were located respectively at right, here we go. Lanterfontaine in Lorraine, at Languedoc, at Le Puy. Don't laugh. Uh, at Le Puy, in a massif central, then Vichy, loads of places in France, right? A lot. Um, all this in the southwest quarter of France. Yeah, one realizes that out of 9, there are 6 which are strictly aligned. And when I say aligned, it must not be assumed that it is an approximate alignment. Not at all. It is something extraordinarily precise, as you can see on that map. He reported all his discoveries in his second book on UFOs, called Flying Saucers and the Straight Line Mystery, published again by Criterion Books. That was published in 1958, which deals exclusively with the big French UFO wave of 1954. The word orthotenic, coined by Michel, is derived from the Greek adjective orthos, meaning straight. Following Cocteau's line of thought, he had indeed brought to light the tendency of UFO sightings to fall in several straight lines over a period of about 24 hours. The book included beautiful maps, some unfoldable, detailing the daily crisscrossing patterns of lines, regularly where those orthotonic lines crossed. A big vertical cigar-shaped UFO say a would say a mothership, looks like a mothership, was observed. Yeah, was observed at the crisscross points. Like I was told all on the message here that they all converge Glastonbury. Um, right, let's have a look. I'm gonna sip the tea, okay? I'll take that. You've got the general idea, haven't you? Right. Okay. Bear with. Just gonna have a quick sip of tea. Funny enough, I made that at work. Keeps hot for ages. Absolutely brilliant. Right, let's have a look. Right. UFOologists of today cannot imagine the revolution it was, not only in France, but all over the world. At last, one started to find some order out of this festival of absurdity. You know what I'm saying? The laws of orphanity were born, and every UFOologist would have his map in his bedroom trying to find new alignments or to confirm those already discovered, like the famous 24th of September 1954 Bayonne Vichy line, with its 6 observations. Then, a few years later, came the Dream Breakers. It was the computer scientist and ufologist Jacques Vallée. We all heard of him. We know him. Who first began to undermine the theory of his friend Amy Michel. From analysis using computers, he concluded that among the proposed alignments, the great majority, if not all, must be attributed to pure chance. Vallée challenged to science Henry. Okay, so I've got a reference here. So he basically challenged his thought, Amy Michel's thought of ley lines being superhighways for UFOs. But then Jacques Vallée had, I like his ideas, Jacques Vallée's ideas. He also believes that these UFOs aren't um, ships, physical ships. And what we're seeing is an avatar, if you like. I speak about avatars a lot. I know I do, but representations on our timeline as we pass and meet, and then they just disappear. You know, you've heard me bang on about this before. You know, because of the way that UFOs travel is very strange. They kind of jittery. They move like this and just disappear, almost like a film, almost like a movement. You know, like almost like Zeno's arrow. You know, at any one time, it can't be in two places at once. Impossible for it to be in two places at once. But at any one point, it stops. At any one point, it continues and stops, continues and stops. If you were to film it, and then on every frame, it'll be in a different position. You see what I mean? Same with UFOs. So Jacques Vallée follows that sort of, you know, of the Avatar kind of thing. I've read quite a lot of Jacques Vallée's stuff. So then another fellow countryman and UFOologist, Jean Sider, or Cedar, years later, in his book, The 1954 File and the Rationalist Imposture, put the last nail in the coffin, suggesting that Michel had some of his dates wrong. In his book, UFOs, The Mechanics of Disinformation, a friend of Michel, the great professional astronomer and astrophysicist Pierre Guérin, who advocated an extraterrestrial origin for UFOs, wrote this, I quote, "To say that Amy Michel took with good heart the failure of the Orphanity, which he named himself, you know, Orphos being line and Tenny from from the Cocteau, his friend, Orphanity, which was his discovery and about which he had full fully committed himself, would be a lie. He accepted it only with reluctance and bitterness. It was a subject he did not like to speak about, but nevertheless, a deserved tribute must be paid to this thinker for having tried an, an impersonal scientific approach of the UFO problem. So basically, they kind of shot him down in flames. His idea of um, putting together sightings and then overlaying that with a line sightings, drawing a line, and then, oh, hey, guess what? As coincidence would have it, it's along a ley line. I think that's a shame, they shot him down in flames about that. Um, I think the man was. I saw a documentary actually on him. It's an old one, black and white. And there's two parts of me I just want to broach really quickly, and that is a lot of times with researchers, um, because they spend so much time researching, and because they um, spend an awful lot of time with themselves talking it over and they almost reconfirm to themselves the validity of their idea, and they then start to close in their world. I've done it. I've done it where I've kind of like thought with Dogman. I thought, oh yeah, it's this. It can't be shot, but it seemed to uh, miss them, or they seem to hit them, but nothing happens to them. You never find a unalive one. Um, they disappear, they morph out. Da, da, da. So of course, my thinking, as everybody knows, it's because of part of the everything engine type thing, where it's kind of on a slightly different timeline. They're avatars, like we would be avatars to them. So, but what I don't want to do is, which a lot of researchers do, is, well, that's completely right, and I'm not going to take on board anything else. No, 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 no. I don't care that they're people dressed up in Dogman outfits. No, but they are. He's just told me they do. They dress up in Dogman outfits and go out and scare people, and they got two little LED lights for their eyes. I don't know. Even though it may be that, you know, I think we've got to. You have to be mindful of the fact to still have an open mind. You have to be mindful of the fact that could be wrong, probably are wrong, because otherwise, it turns uh, it would turn me into somebody unapproachable. If I just turned around to everyone and said, "No, that's rubbish," complete and utter rubbish. No, no, no. That the idea about UFOs uh, being um, radio controlled aircraft that are flying over bases. It's complete rubbish. Well, no, I wouldn't be approachable, so I would miss out. So you have to sort of like lower your fences and think to yourself, okay, look, I've done a lot of research, spent a lot of time doing this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, my what I'm researching or the way I'm researching is completely right. Anyway, this guy got blown out, didn't he? It's Amy Michelle. Um, uh, so right, as far as I'm concerned, I remember him as being the first person to be interested and published the UFO photos taken near Lake Chauvet, right in the center of France. This remarkable observation was made by an electrical engineer, Andre. Oh my good God, really? Andre Frengal. I yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to park that one there. On the 18th of July, 1952, at 6:10 p.m., while looking southwards, he noticed in the sky a disc-shaped object coming from the west. The trajectory was horizontal and reticular. The linear speed uniform. So linear speed was uniform with it, so it was going along like a pebble on the water, you know. Um, and the regularity of pace impressive. The object moved in absolute silence. Frengal seized the camera he had with him, a 24 by 36 Zeiss Icon equipped with a 45mm objective, and took 4 photos. When the mysterious machine was too far away to be photographed, he took his binoculars to follow the object, which was travelling away, and he saw it disappear almost immediately, as if he had vanished on the spot. I can't put those photos up, but you can look them up. I can't put those photos up because if I do, um, it's going to be copyright infringement for me. So, I'm not going to do that. Because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy researching. I enjoy sharing what I find with you guys. So I don't want to sort of be closed down for that. So, but by all means, have a look yourself. I'll put some links on the description. Okay, so you can have a little look yourself. But by all means, that's fine. Right. Um. Just finding the right. As another um. Blah, blah, blah. Right now, I'm going to talk about a lady now in the UK. Um, right. Now, she is an artist, was an artist, bless her. A surrealist, um, also a mystic, and reputedly also part of the Golden Dawn, um, which probably recognise the name from Crowley's, Crowley's lot, Crowley's mob. Um, So this woman sort of like had depth to her, you know. Anyway, quite interesting what she wrote in the 1950s. I looked her up because I was like, oof, kind of. I wonder what, because I knew she was around Cornwall Bay at the time, and I thought, oh, I wonder. In the 1950s, reclusive mystic Eiffel Col Colquhoun, okay, Eiffel Colquhoun wrote an important book, a milestone, no pun intended, and alluded to a line of energy we now call the Michael line. The book was called The Living Stones. It referred to a line of magnetic energy running from the east coast tip of Cornwall, ending at a small church in Hopton on the border of Suffolk and Norfolk. Funny enough, Roxy B and myself have been to Hopton. Because we done one of those sun saver holiday things with the dog Leys. Took the dogs because I'm going to put my kennels, so take them with us. We done the sun's holiday, static caravan at Hopton. But yeah, been to Cornwall as well. It's lovely, very lovely down there as well. But yeah, so this woman she was the one that knew, and then uh, kind of put it on paper that this line existed, you know. Well, I'm going to put a map up of the Michael line. Okay, right. So that's a map of it running up towards North Suffolk, all the way from Cornwall. See if I can get that a bit bigger. Hang on, let's get me out of it. Yeah. Okay. So, and these are the places. The places aligned with precision along the Michael line are in order from Cornwall. And the map shows Carn le Beau, then St Michael's Mount, then Cheese Ring, then St Michael's Church, Brenta, then St Michael's Church in Troll, Barrow Bridge Mump, St Michael's Church Overy, Glastonbury, Stoke St Michael's Church, Avebury, Ogbourne St George, St Michael's Church Clifton, Hampton, Royston, Bury St Edmunds, and then St Margaret's Church, Hopton. Look at that line. That line is so straight. It's just like, what, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Right, let's just change this. Right. Right. Okay. She hinted that this line dated back to pre-Christian force, which in modern times would be called the Michael line. Interestingly enough, the Knights Templar apparently understood the line's significance, incorporating it into their teachings. So dowsing was what actually is dowsing? How does it work? So you could say it is a talent learned and honed utilizing two rods and something called sixth sense. But it can be refined and utilized with success to find minerals, water, and even oil. But to keep on track, we will concentrate on its ability and that of the user to detect these invisible lines of magnetic energy. Many dowsers in the use of the rods inadvertently trigger residual memories, which in itself fascinates me. Because when you think about it, it's like, uh, next time you see a dowser, ask him. Or if you are a dowser yourself, let me know in the comments. I'll put the comments up again. Um, do you put yourself in a state? Do you have a state that you have to put yourself in when you're dowsing? Is it a bit like um table tipping? Or Ouija? Is it a bit like that? Is it like seances? Is it that you have to put yourself in a state? Um, right. Many don't use their rods. Okay. They trigger residual memories, which in itself fascinates me. Okay. So, does dowsing work on the whole? Yes, it is successful, but it takes time and experience as well as an intuition. But yes, large firms have employed dowsing or dowsers as a functional tool for locating oil and water, for instance, to some great effect. And that's truth. That's truth. That I done research on it before I wrote that, and I was like, yeah, wow. Especially in 1970s, very popular. Um, yeah, very popular to use them, and it comes under the same. It comes under the same thing as a pendulum, diviners with a pendulum and a map. It comes under the same type of thing. Um, Humans, animals, and plants, trees, we all possess energy fields, inorganic materials such as rocks and water. So think of the planet as a large, balanced energy field that has interaction with other heavenly bodies in space because we are all energies. This is me writing down how I feel about them. Could be completely wrong. It's a bit Jedi, granted, you know, but um, you know, I don't want to get too tree huggy here. So back on track. Do ley lines in particular, the famous Michael and Mary lines, exist and why? Well, for a long time, dowsing investigators have found old sacred sites to harbour and emanate strong forces that interconnect with the environment. The Michael line is particularly strong. Oh, lost it. No, hang on, wait, wait. Uh, uh, Michael is particularly strong and interconnects in a virtual straight line with some of the most sacred sites in England. So you may ask, what is the relevance to Dogman or even to UFOs for that matter? Well, I have spoken about earlier with the UFOs, the France, um, where sightings and regardless of if the time frame was out, still I believe the coincidence of the landings or sightings being on a single fixed point line to be over and above coincidence, being that that line is a ley line. So I disagree with that guy saying, "Oh, that's the wrong date. You got the wrong dates for those for aliens." It wasn't for 54, it's 62. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Some things in life are um, odd because they're not accountable by coincidence. They're more by design, but you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of that. Uh, I don't want to get too tree huggy. For a long time, dowsing environment. The Michael line is particularly strong and connects with virtual UFOs, alignment and sightings, ley lines. Now the Dogman and Bigfoot question. Right. Okay. This is the Dogman Bigfoot. Right. For all those that want to poll saying, "Oh, Dogman use it." Birds and animals, as well as marine life, very recently reported on 6th of May 2021 in science.org, a new study suggests some sharks can read Earth's magnetic field, like a map and use it to navigate the open seas. Um, Back again to this sixth sense. Birds, sea turtles, lobsters all seem to use a sense that allows them to navigate vast distances. Whereas we would pull out our phone and put in destination and bingo, we have a direction. So what can a large mammal seem to be able to do without a smartphone for guidance? In 2005, scientists reported that a great white shark swam from South Africa to Australia and back again in nearly a straight line, a feat that led some scientists to propose the animals relied on a magnetic sense to steer themselves. And since at least the 1970s, researchers have suspected that the hang on, um, elasmo branches, okay, um, a group of fish which are a group of fish containing sharks, rays, skates, and swordfish, can detect magnetic fields. But no one had shown what sharks use. What sharks use in a way of fields. They use magnetic fields to locate themselves or navigate, partly because the animals aren't so easy to work with. because they'll eat you basically. Uh, is one thing if you have a small lobster, or a baby sea turtle, but when you work with a shark, certainly have problems, Um, but to say we can't seem to do it doesn't mean to say we can't seem to do it doesn't mean it can't be done. So my question is, could an evolved large mammal as Dogman or Bigfoot, which has been seen very often to follow rivers or streams. Now, I conjecture that this is not so much a source of food and hydration, but the action of the water against certain rocks, perhaps containing crystals, causes a quartz as a piezoelectric crystal has the ability to convert electric waves into mechanical waves and reverse the process also. So when you think about that, it's like incredible. And it has that uh uh capability. It has the capability of having a a a, a very stable vibration point, um megahertz, if you like, to enable it to be used as quite an accurate watch. For many years, we've used it as an accurate watch, quartz, with electric current going through it. It just boom vibrates at a certain frequency, which predetermines kind of like the 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 time. It gives a constant for us to be able to judge time by. So, and we've used quartz for a long time like that. But with the water running over the rocks, I think it was Andy again that mentioned this, running over the rocks. Yes, I think it could. So we can't see magnetic fields. It's one wavelength that can't be seen. We can play about with it with things like iron filings on paper, and make shapes to see the patterns it causes, but we can't actually see it. But it made me wonder, Dogman, and also Bigfoot, they've been witnesses have said their eyes glow. Could it be that they follow? Does this does the piezoelectric effect of the water going over the rocks, which caused this? I mean, does it look like a glowing river to them? Does it look like a glowing highway to them? Is that why they follow it? Is that why you often see them following power lines in the States? That's another new thing where the dogman and it was be following a power line. Because with power lines, obviously, there's a certain amount of residual electromagnetic energy given off. I don't know. Anyway, right. So could Dogman and Bigfoot use electromagnetic for guidance? This then would make sense because recently in the USA they have been spotted following power lines. Um, so it would make logical sense to me that they do indeed see and follow the magnetic energy of the Earth's natural highway, the ley lines. We know that Dogman has been documented for many years, seen at ancient earthworks, sometimes digging into burial mounds, also along ley lines, churches, and ancient monuments. Again, a frequency of Dogman sightings there as well. I believe ley lines still hold a fascination. Not only is it a forgotten feature under our feet, its purpose unknown, but the one thing that is clearly shared by animals, Dogman or UFOs, these lines may guide us to the same sixth sense we have long forgotten. So that is me. Now, what thoughts do you have on this? And we'll go through quickly on the chat and see what's cooking. Let's have a look. Oh, really steady retro. Hello. Um oh yeah, we got Kenny, Lord Starfox. Hello, mate. You all right? I've got to catch up with you. I've been so just back to work, and kind of time just disappears. It just goes, Kenny. But I have got to catch up with you, guy. Um let's have a look. Ready Steady Retro. Looking for a decent website maps on the UK care line. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Very interesting. I'll put down the reference because I used a lot of reference material. Um, about 5 books to sort of collate information in there. Um, and one is I'll put the description as but it's based on like the serpent line, if you like. The Sea and the Serpent, I think the book was. It's an old book, well, but quite difficult to get hold of. It's not easy. Um, Another thing, when I was talking about the MRIs, and I had that light feeling like which is quite nice actually for me because I'm a bit of I put a few pound on. You know, I don't look it, I know, but I have put a few pound on. But being unwell, pity party. So uh, a feeling of lightness in the MRI in that tunnel, the same as in Clapham Woods on the ley line, which I believe to be a ley line, which I did check. Um, anyway, when they have a cannula in your arm and they want to show up more inside you on the magnetic resonance, I did have a little look, and evidently, it's another long word. Um, uh, in MRI scans, contrast agents are typically composed of ga- gadolinium, gadolinium, and a tilting agent, which the tilting agent or chilting agent um, binds with the molecules and makes it non-toxic. But it goes into your system, and gadolinium is a rare earth metal that alters the magnetic properties of water molecules, making tissue and blood vessels more visible in the images. I read that because I had no idea what to put in my hand, and for the cannula. And I know it did look silvery. It honestly did look silvery when I put it in. And I was like, oh, but yeah, that feeling of lightness afterwards. But it takes us back again to um, quartz, movement of water, dogman, Bigfoot, often seen by bodies of water or streams, and this rare earth mineral which binds together with water. Uh, and it's evidently very good at bonding with uh, neutrinos, neutrinos. Um, no, I say it again, neutrons, not neutrinos. They're different. Neutrons bonds very well with those. It's often the stuff they put gadolinium is very often used in nuclear industry. Because it bonds so well with neutrons, it's used as a kind of a test, almost like a sacrificial rod that they put into the um, mix. So and this thing, what I'm getting at is this mineral is out there. It's mined. It's natural. It's a rare earth mineral, but bonds very well with water, and evidently. With if it gets too moist in the air, this mineral will turn black. It's a very soluble sort of mineral, but it will turn black with air moisture as well, which is very odd. So all these things together, I was just thinking to myself, I think as a good reason why we often see them by water bodies and movement of water, and that is because they see it as something different to what we see it as. Because we can't see the magnetic resonance or the frequency of the quartz with the water running across it. And I think that with ley lines, they exist. We know that it's documented. Dowsers have documented that. I think Dogman does follow ley lines, because we very often see witnesses have seen him by old monuments for whatever reason. Why are they on these old mounds digging? Type 1 dogmen in cemeteries. Hound of Hell, Jet Black, oh, I'm bringing out the video for the Blythburgh Church as well. The Dogman, the other investigation I did at Blythburgh with the scratch marks on the door. So I'll be dropping that hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning. Yeah, that will be coming out. Listen, it's 8:28. I'm not going to take up much more of your time because you've been very patient while I've been trying to uh, butcher names, places, and words, and that takes some doing. That's hard graft listening to me butchering all them. I just want to thank you very much for listening, joining, and being part of the gang, groovy gang. Yeah, I think I'll have a word with Colin from the Dark 66, who was on last week. And I think, we'll try and bring you something which is a bit more lighthearted and a bit more kind of involved. So I'm trying to come up with a plan where, I put links out and I do say to people, you can come on a show if you want, 15 minutes, but people don't seem to, because it's a bit, I get it. It's a bit, put myself out there, in the public. Oh, everyone can see me on TV and everything. It is a bit, you know, um, but I'm going to try and do it in such a way that it keeps, you are able to come on, but, you kind of like, I was thinking of maybe voice only. And I'll work it so that if you click on the link, I'll already set it up my end, and you can come on, have your two penneth worth, have your opinion, um, and there's nothing to download, no apps, nothing, and I'll set it up so it's just voice only for you. Because I think it's good for people to have a say. I think it's good for you to have a say. I mean, we've got comments, and and I appreciate all your comments. Believe you me. Um, do do do. Yeah, who else is on? Ready Steady, Lord Star Fox, Richard. Um, what did Richard say there? Did you make it to Marquis Drive when you were in Canada? No, I did not. No, no, I did not. I should. Do you know what? I should have messaged you before I went to Cannock. I should have messaged you and said, "What was that place again?" Because I completely forgot. You told me. I'm really sorry about that, mate. But yeah, no, I've got to do that. Yeah, but I'm hoping to go back to Cannock a little later in the year. You know, but when I do, that'll be great. Right, it's 8:30. I am going to sign off. Okay, thank you guys, and yeah, I'll let Roxy uh shut everything down. All right, listen, thank you very much for taking.
What? Hello. Well, that was really interesting. I would like to hear a lot more about Ley Lines. I'd like to go more in depth. I'm very interested about Ley Lines and artificial. Artificial? No, no, no. It's not what I mean. Ancient, ancient monuments. So I'll be looking at pushing still. into that another time. So I'd just like to say on that note, thanks for joining. Have a great bank holiday, those people in the UK, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.